Welcome to This Explainer. Okay, today we're mapping out something huge. We're talking about a hidden second VA check that thousands, literally thousands of veterans are owed every single month. They're totally entitled to this money on top of what they already get, but they never claim it. Why? Well, mostly because the VA just doesn't volunteer the information. Now, to be clear right up front, this is not a higher disability rating, and it's definitely not a one-time payout. It is a completely separate recurring monthly payment. So if you, or maybe someone you love, is a veteran, you're going to want to pay close attention. We are going to decode exactly what this benefit is and, more importantly, how to actually get it. Now, you know most veterans believe this number right here, 100%, is the absolute ceiling. They hit that max rating, and naturally, they assume the book is closed. They think, hey, I'm already at 100, there's absolutely nothing more. But because of that perfectly understandable misconception, they are leaving a whole other layer of money right on the table. You can actually be sitting at 100%, literally the highest rating there is, and still be missing out on this extra monthly check. Crazy, right? So here's exactly what we'll uncover today. First, the hidden second check. Then, redefining loss of use, followed by the most overlooked condition. After that, we'll cover housebound and daily aid, stacking your benefits, and finally, how to claim all of this safely. All right, let's jump right into part one, the hidden second check.
Okay, so let's dive into the very first roadblock, which is just understanding what this money actually is and why you literally have to ask for it by its specific name. Here is the core misunderstanding. On one side, you have your standard disability rating, which, as we know, caps out at 100%. But on the other side, we have special monthly compensation, or SMC. SMC is an entirely separate kind of payment. It's not about bumping your rating from, say, 90% up to 100%. No, it sits right on top of your regular check. The two are just not the same pot of money. Understanding this separation is absolutely crucial. It's the key that unlocks everything else we're going to talk about today.
So here's the formal definition. Special monthly compensation is an additional, separate payment for specific, serious situations the VA recognizes as needing extra support. Now, you might be wondering, well, if this is real, why doesn't the VA just call me up and tell me I qualify? Look, it's not some grand conspiracy. It's just a massively complicated system. The VA is built to pay out what you claim correctly, right? It's not built to hunt for extra things to hand you. The system just quietly assumes you know this definition and that you know this benefit exists. Because no one is going to call you to offer it, the burden is entirely on you to step up and ask for it by name.
Moving right along to part two, redefining loss of use. Let's see how changing your definition of a single word can completely unlock this benefit. The first big category for SMC is the loss or loss of use of certain body parts. We're generally talking about hands, feet, blindness in the eyes, and deafness in both ears. If a service-connected condition impacts literally any of these areas, you might qualify. But here's the trick. You have to pay extremely close attention to the specific phrasing the VA uses here. So the absolutely crucial point to remember is that the word loss does not automatically mean amputation. You know, a lot of veterans hear the phrase loss of use and immediately roll themselves out just because the body part is still technically attached. But think about this for a second. Picture a veteran whose hand is still at the end of his arm, but because of severe nerve damage, he can't grasp a coffee cup or button his own shirt. Functionally, in the eyes of this benefit, a hand that no longer works can be treated exactly like a hand that is gone. If a service-connected condition has stolen the use of something, that functional loss is what triggers the extra payment. Now for part three, the most overlooked condition.
All right, now we really need to tackle the elephant in the room. I want to address this plainly, no awkwardness, because this is hands down the single most underclaimed benefit of the entire bunch. And it quietly costs veterans, specifically men, an enormous amount of money. Loss of use actually applies to reproductive organs too. In plain terms, this very often means erectile dysfunction. Now, a huge number of veterans develop this, and it's not out of nowhere. It's a direct side effect of the medications they're already taking for other service-connected conditions. Things like pills for pain, blood pressure, or mental health. If your service-connected condition or the treatment for it caused this, it is fully compensable. But, men were raised not to talk about this stuff, right? So they suffer in silence. Embarrassment is literally the only thing keeping them from claiming a check they rightfully earned. Let me put a real face on this for you. Consider a guy named Walter. So Walter was rated at 100%, and he thought he'd hit the absolute ceiling. But for 10 solid years, Walter quietly lived with a side effect from his VA medications that he never mentioned to anyone. He just assumed it was a private struggle, and certainly not worth money. Well, when someone finally sat down and walked him through SMC, he claimed it, And just like that, an additional payment landed right on top of his 100% check every single month. Walter's story really shows us that there's absolutely no shame in claiming what your service and its treatments did to your body. It's a recognized medical condition, and you earn the compensation for it. Let's pivot now to part 4, housebound and daily aid.
I want to speak directly to the spouses, the grown children, and the caregivers watching this explainer right now, because you are very often the very first people to notice these next qualifying situations. As aging veterans' conditions worsen over time, their worlds can start to shrink. This table maps out 2 really critical tiers. The first is housebound. If you're effectively confined to your home because of your service-connected conditions, or maybe you have a 100% rating plus other specific disabilities, you qualify for an extra housebound payment. But the highest tier is aid and attendance. This is for veterans who have reached a point where they need regular daily help from another person just to manage basic life activities. Stuff like bathing, dressing, eating, or just getting around safely. For these situations, the VA actually provides significantly larger checks.
Listen, if you are the spouse quietly helping your husband get dressed in the morning, making sure he doesn't slip in the shower, or managing his pill boxes because he can't keep them straight, that daily help actually has an official name in this system. Pride so often keeps the veteran from raising their hand to admit they need this level of help, so it's frequently up to the caregiver to initiate the process. And remember this, you are not complaining by looking into this. Not at all. You are simply securing the earned benefits that exist precisely to help you care for your veteran. Okay, moving on to part 5, stacking your benefits. Let's look at how all of this builds, because this is something most veterans have absolutely no idea about. These benefits can actually stack. Yes, really. A veteran with more than one qualifying situation can, in the right circumstances, receive more than one of these additional payments at the exact same time. Getting an extra payment for one qualifying loss doesn't magically cancel out another. And we're not talking about a few extra bucks here. At the higher levels, we are talking about hundreds of dollars added to your check every single month. When you stack a couple of qualifying situations together, the cost of not knowing this layer exists, well, that can easily run into thousands of missed dollars year after year for the rest of a veteran's life. It's massive. Finally, let's wrap up with part 6, how to claim safely. So, how do we safely execute this and actually get the money into your pocket without getting scammed? Here is your action plan. Step 1. Look at the situations we just covered and identify honestly which ones touch your life. Step 2. When you file, you absolutely must write special monthly compensation by name and connect it to your service-connected conditions. Remember, it will not be handed to you automatically. And step 3, and honestly this is critical, do not do it alone. Work with a completely free accredited veteran service officer, or VSO, right in your county. A good VSO will ask you the uncomfortable questions you might not volunteer, find exactly what you are owed, and they'll do it without an ounce of judgment, entirely for free. And I say that because wherever there is money owed to veterans, someone inevitably shows up trying to take a cut. Let this be a very firm warning. You never, ever have to pay a fee or give up a percentage of your back pay to predatory agents just to claim special monthly compensation. If anyone offers to recover this for you in exchange for a slice of your check, just hang up the phone. Seriously, the absolute best people who do this work do it for free. So we've mapped out exactly what this hidden layer of compensation is and exactly how you can claim it. The money is there for the functional losses, it's there for the medication side effects nobody wants to talk about, and it's there for the daily care that so many families rely on. This is not a handout. It is compensation that the law literally says you are owed for what your service did to your body. So I'm going to leave you with this final thought. Will you let pride, or maybe just a lack of information, leave your earned compensation sitting in the dark? Please take just a moment right now and share this explainer with an older veteran you know, especially someone at a high rating who just assumes the VA owes him nothing more. Because claiming what is legally yours, that's the final step in honoring your service. Thanks so much for joining me on this explainer, and as always, keep learning.